Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Into the Winklerverse. I don't like saying it that way. Welcome into the Winklerverse. I am Bart Winkler, Grant Bills alongside, and
Hello.
Paul Imig. It's our weekly rendition of MmHmm with a Packers post-game twist. Packers lose to the Lions 34-31. Paul, I don't know what you have planned in terms of questions.
All Brewers.
I'm going to try to as quickly and succinctly as I can, spit out my main takes on the Packers-Lions game last night. And here we go. Dan Campbell is a menace. He isn't about the analytics. He's addiction to going for it on fourth down. He doesn't understand how he can't do it. And like all addicts, I should know your voice will eventually come back to bite you. That fourth down that he went for to end the game only makes sense if he thinks Jordan Love is Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, where you can operate with no timeouts from your own 30-yard line. Truly an unhinged decision. The fourth down before the half was a direct PTSD from the NFC Championship game where they went for a field goal before the half and then eventually lost. By the way, that game, the same score as the game last night. But the Packers would have had more time on the clock if Matt LaFleur didn't call that stupid challenge. They would have had another timeout. They would have had a full minute remaining. So Grant's already shaking his head. I don't like that. The Lions are a fan base that we have wanted to cheer on their, glow up here, but now they're starting to be a little cocky about it. I don't want to become the Bears to their Packers. I don't like this whole cheese grating thing. I already was mad at that one fan. There was an actual cheese grater that was brought in the game. How did that get through the metal detector? And I do not feel safe going to Ford Field anymore if there are going to be weapons just flat out allowed into the facility. Also, I think that might be it. I think that those might be the main takeaways. I don't think Dan Campbell, I think he's getting rewarded for bad behavior today. I think that's mainly it. Oh, I don't like to blame the ref guys. I always say you have to be better than the elements, the rest being one of those elements. And I do think that the NFL sets up their refs in a way to fail. Like, oh, they didn't call holding. Oh, they didn't call this. So that's because there's so many different arbitrary rules. Like you can review block charge. Oh, the guy's feet weren't set. Oh, he was moving. You can review someday there will be, Paul, the automated strike zone, and there'll be a defined space. What's a ball and a strike? But you can't, you can review offsides. You can see the body part in soccer. But holding and pass interference is always going to be a judgment call. And so these guys are always let out to dry, and you can't review that. And even then, so basically, I say not to complain about the refs. I'm complaining about the refs. I think that Dan Campbell going for it on his own 30 was even dumber. I think this guy has a problem and needs help. I think last night was a cry for help. The same way that I've got vodka in this Mountain Dew right now. I'm just kidding. Anyway, I think that is all the spit I need to throw on the floor. So I've knocked over the shelf. And then if you guys could help me rearrange that into a worthy 45 to 55 minutes of content.
Paul?
Well, Grant, I'm just going to say that our texts this morning contradict your thought. Your thoughts contradict the referee portion of what Mr. Winkler just shared. You were like, this was not the refs, right? Am I?
Well, yeah, I think the OPI, yeah, offensive pass interference. I think that was a bad call. All smart football people on TV and in the media are breaking it down as a bad call. But
did you see the Bukowski tweet? He said that the Lions have 4 fourth down touchdowns, and they're all against the Packers this year.
Oh my gosh, I did not see that.
Interesting.
So then, yay, we stopped them, and yay, but I mean that one to Gibbs, it was like, I mean, God, they could have ran that play 100 times before we stopped it.
Good angle route. Ben Johnson's good. I don't think the defense is going to have to get a stop anyways.
Is Ben Johnson? Look at it. Okay, is Ben Johnson that great of a?
Yep.
That's the same call I call on fourth down on Madden.
But doesn't that just reinforce your point that you just got to have a guy who can just do the things that a normal person would do, and you could be a sufficient coach in the NFL?
Oh, and Matt LaFleur arguing with this fan before the game. He should have punched him in the face.
That was actually a pretty great. Like I don't know. I was behind on the game, so I've not caught up to social media. That's a great LaFleur moment. Or mm-mm.
Oh yeah, because this is the thing with the Lions. The Lions fans are like, and this is the analogy I used. They are like, before Steve Rogers becomes Captain America.
Yeah.
They're a scrawny little 5'6" kid that gets his ass kicked throughout Brooklyn. Now they're Captain America super serum. Okay. Now they can kick anybody's ass. But where Captain America was the right person to be Captain America was because, and why he's worthy of Thor's hammer, I should say, is because he doesn't then become the guy who can then retaliate. He only fights for good. The Lions are basically the bully that got, strong over the summer, and now they're kicking everybody's ass. It's like, you haven't been that good for that long. Your fans don't earn the right to get a pregame pass and start jawing with an NFL head coach on the field.
That has nothing to do with, there is no fan base with any level of success that earns the right to do that. And Paul, you asked if that's a good LaFleur moment. When he says well, normally I'd like security or the police to step up, you could construe that as a little whiny and complainy, but make no mistake, I'm saying you could, but make no mistake, that fan made a fool of himself, and that's a horrible look. If you
Sirianni yelling with fans in the stands is one thing, because that's where fans are supposed to be.
Yeah.
With this happening on the field, it's like the gall of that guy. It's unbelievable.
You are selected as a volunteer to be on the field. Be a fucking adult. That's I feel like that's half of my talking points on the radio these days. It's just just be an adult. Players, fans, coaches.
You're one of those guys that gets to do the flag before the Brewers game, and then on your way off the field, you start yelling at counsel. Although I might do that. You bitch punk. Why'd you leave? Why didn't you leave sooner, I should say?
No, I just liked that LaFleur had that in him, right? To be no, fuck you, I liked that he didn't though yes, the fans should never have had the opportunity to do that. And I think your analogy is a good one, Bart. I like the Captain America analogy. You got too big, too fast.
I brought that up on the show, and we ended up getting as many people calling that wanted to talk about Marvel as they did the Packers-Lions game.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Rick in Toronto got upset because Carlos said Sam Wilson should not be Captain America. It should be Bucky Barnes. And I told him Bucky didn't want the shield.
I think it should only be Steve Rogers.
Well, he's old now.
But I mean, then you should just be the Falcon who carries the shield. You aren't Captain America.
But you could argue that the world needs a Captain America.
I'm not
at least Earth 616.
Earth 616. The Captain America movie comes out, is it in February or March, Bart?
Yeah, and I heard it's gone through a million reshoots and don't think it's going to be good.
Okay. Well,
what are they reshooting? It's all green screens. What are they?
Well, there was a whole plot with Seth Rollins as a part of this Serpent Society that they completely cut.
Is Red Hulk the baddie?
Yeah.
Is that Harrison Ford?
Yeah.
Who's Harrison Ford?
He's taking over for the guy who used to play Thunderbolt Ross.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
I just thought, when a Captain America movie comes out, as it's going to, and Steve Rogers isn't in it, I just don't think that's odd. It's got to just call it something else.
On the idea that Lions fans have gotten a little big for their britches, it's annoying, but we lost. We got to just suck that up. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
I text Horvat last night, or he texted me. And I don't think I'm speaking out of school here.
Does he want Rodgers back?
No, he said, I have a very strong take. Dan Campbell when Ben Johnson leaves, and it was Campbell in the Applebee's commercial.
I really like Dan Campbell.
He says he's going to do that shit against Green Bay in the playoffs or Philly, and he's going to lose. Vic Fangio will be waiting. I said, I'm really pissed about this game. It was fucking bullshit. And Horvat said, me too, made me feel alive again.
I was happy placed up before bed for about an hour because you can't go from watching your team on Thursday Night Football in that game to immediately laying down to sleep. Like there was a period. Plus, I was doing Bill's show today, so I was typing some things out, and I was pondering. I'm like, I think Dan Campbell's great, but what is it going to look like without Ben Johnson? Because
it's not going to be nearly as good.
Well, and maybe they'll still be really great, but God damn, there were a couple moments last night where I'm like, yeah, he just called that, and he's just got so many calls, and they're all timed perfectly. Like, yeah.
I think Dan Campbell can get away with his fourth quarter or his fourth down strategy because of who he has calling his offensive plays
on those fourth down attempts.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah, you can't be Mr. Fourth Down if Nathaniel Hackett's your OC or Luke Getsy.
No. And I think Ben Johnson staying with the Lions is if you told me who's going to win the Super Bowl right now, I know, and Bart, I've heard some of your discourse at a national level with the Chiefs, and I'm with you on a lot of it. The Lions are the best team in the NFL, and I'm not even sure it's that close. Like, that doesn't mean the best team is going to win the Super Bowl, but I think Ben Johnson, this 36-year-old guy, staying with the Lions as an offensive coordinator when he could have been a head coach is a Super Bowl changing moment in NFL history. Like the Lions with him and without him. So like, this is the kind of the game I like to play because I really value coaching in certain aspects. When there's elite coaching, I think coaching can be, but
Grant's eyes just rolled over to my camera.
But if you were the Lions and you could protect 5 members of your general thing, would Ben Johnson be among them?
I love this exercise. This is
unbelievably, unequivocally. Ben Johnson is one of the 5 most valuable Lions, undoubtedly.
So who's more valuable than him?
No one. I don't know.
Because I would say, is he more valuable than Jared Goff? I would say yes.
I'm sorry. Yes, he is more valuable. He's more valuable than Jared Goff.
Is he more valuable than David Montgomery?
Obviously.
I think Montgomery's like a top 5 back, though. I think he's fucking awesome.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs is. I can't believe he's real watching him sometimes.
If the NFL said to the Lions, it's been decreed, you must either release Ben Johnson or Aiden Hutchinson. Who are they cutting?
Well, they've got a patchwork defense right now that we couldn't beat. I think. What if they said you have to get rid of Ben Johnson or Dan Campbell?
Ooh. I think Dan Campbell, because of what he is and what he brings, he is the culture, right? And Ben Johnson, I'm not sure.
I don't know though. I think with Dan Campbell,
I think they are 2 of the 5. I'm going to say 2 of the 3 most important Lions.
Here's where I think what happened.
I would love to hear the national discourse on that. I think people say that's crazy, but I don't think it is. I think it's absolutely correct.
Well, I could talk about that tonight. I got no lead.
We did this with the Brewers a couple years ago. Remember Bart? What?
We'll never forget you.
Remember this a couple years ago? I asked you if there was an expansion draft and you had to protect Brewers players, but counsel was included. Like how many? I don't even remember what we settled on. But I love this exercise, Paul.
So what's your answer, Grant, with the Lions?
Campbell's on the board too.
Campbell's on the board too.
See, I think you need
pick 3 Lions you can protect, coaches included, and everyone else is available for an expansion draft.
Ooh, Penei Sewell. Maybe St. Brown. See, the thing is, like, St. Brown, I brought this up earlier today on the radio. Like, St. Brown is not Justin Jefferson or A.J. Brown or Tyreek Hill at their peak. He's very good, but he's not, like, otherworldly.
Right.
Like, what are we going to do with this guy? How can we possibly defend him? I would say Penei Sewell.
I've had Tim Patrick in a fantasy league for 7 years, and I IR him every year on the Broncos, and I finally got rid of him this year, and now he's doing something. He's like 30.
Did you mention this on the national show? Like, what a bitch move from Jerry Jeudy to be like, hey, Broncos, I know I sucked for you for 3 straight years, but now I'm going to come back and have the first good game of my career and act like you did me wrong by shipping me off. Like, I know that.
Did you see the stat that Judy in that game had more receiving yards than any game of passing yards Deshaun Watson had as a Brown this year?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've got a exercise I want to play in a minute. The first thing that I want to tell you is to exercise your right to delicious gummies. Uh-oh. Where am I? HappyPlaceHemp.com. HappyPlaceHemp.com. The promo code is BART. Remember, at the end of the season, for each win Green Bay has, they're going to have a bigger deal for you. So think about the 2 purchases you need to make right now at HappyPlaceHemp.com. When we have our January sale coming up at like the end of January. Okay, so that's a little bit of ways away, but just keep that in your mind. You need to get the sale now for the stocking stuffers and the Christmas presents and to make sure you can get through the holidays. Don't tell me you went through Thanksgiving in 2024 gummy free. Get these gummies. There's a lot of different things that they can help you do. Relax, mellow, also help you focus. Not every gummy is a Delta something. Not every gummy is a THC. Some of them are just to help you focus that are THC free. Some of them help you go to bed. The CBD, CBN ones, which I talk about and use a lot. There's seltzers to help you mellow out throughout the day. So a lot of great things, a lot of great options. They're in Muskego. You can pick up your products there. They do have extended office hours if you want to do that. Let them know about the show. Also, just go to happyplacehemp.com. That, again, is happyplacehemp.com. The promo code is BART for 25% off. I have another big thing to share, or at least that I'm thinking about, and that is the background behind me. As you see, I have on the Dan Schani YouTube stream, this is a Packers Super Bowl picture. This is all 4 Packers Super Bowls. This is the Bradley Center someone drew for me, and this is the Bucks World Championship. What I think I might do is take down this sheet of uncut Packers 1990 police cards that is autographed by every single player here except for Brent Fullwood. Why he wouldn't do it, I don't know. And I think I might replace it with what's been a Winkler family heirloom, where it's been the 13-0 poster of the Milwaukee Brewers, which my dad then added the Sports Illustrated that was given during that time, plus different Donruss and Topps cards that he then implemented. So what people bought was this great poster, but then my dad bought a frame, which was obviously too big for the poster, so he filled it in with Sports Illustrated and trading cards. And I think this deserves a spot on the wall.
I agree on that. Brewers memorabilia is the coolest.
Remember when they went 13-0? I remember specifically, this used to be in my basement. This is in 1987. And I asked my dad, I said, did they win the World Series this year? And he goes, no. I go, well, how far did they go in the playoffs? And he said, son, let me tell you about the Milwaukee Brewers. They have not been in the playoffs in your lifetime and won't be until you're 24 years old.
Team streak. You remember the Easter Day game, though, Easter Sunday? Oh,
God, yeah. All right. Okay, hey. Let's do my favorite game where I give you teams or the field to win the Super Bowl.
All right.
Lions or the field?
Field.
Lions.
What? You just think they're winning?
Yep.
That you would put a bet on it of let's say $1,000.
What do I get back?
Just the return. You either get $1,000 or zero. I give it to you.
But you got to put it on something.
Yeah, if I say right now, wherever we end up, I'll give you the money. You just got to be right. You're wagering nothing.
Lions.
Wow. So then it would go down, I guess, with each, like a deal or no deal. So I'd say, all right, for $900, Lions, Chiefs are the field.
Yeah, Lions.
You're already out. So now it's the grant.
You're crazy if you don't take that grant.
I would need you to throw in the Bills. I would say Lions, Chiefs, Bills. And I would take them over the field.
Sure.
I want the Bills or the Eagles. One of those two will get me there. Don't need both, just one.
To be clear, I didn't know you were going to keep adding. I thought it was going to be like I thought it was going to be Chiefs or the field. But I didn't know I was going to get a collection of teams. But if
you were very confident. But then if I asked you Chiefs or the field, you can't say Chiefs.
I thought I was going to have to pick one. Go ahead, it doesn't matter. But yeah,
right.
I would rather have the Bills, Chiefs, and Lions. I would feel better about the Bills, Chiefs, and Lions than I would just the Lions. But yes.
Our friend Austin called me last night on the show and said the phrase, Matt LaFleur has brought us nothing but agony. MmHmm or MmHmm.
He asked you that on the air?
Yeah, he says, we have playoff losses. He goes, the same way you thought Rodgers was built to lose in an NFC championship, I think LaFleur is built to lose in the NFC divisional round.
Well, we got MmHmm on the show.
I'm MmHmming you.
Oh,
but he did mention into the Winklerverse. I appreciated that.
Oh, good.
I thought of you and the whole built to lose in the NFC Championship game last night, because in a group chat we were chatting last night, and I'm like, seems like this team is going to win a very fun game in the wild card round and then lose a game in Detroit or Philly exactly like that one. That does seem where this is trending, and that's where it trended last year too. So a little bit of a theme.
So are we personnel away, or does this become the coach?
I think LaFleur is a very, 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 very good head coach.
I think he's a very good coach too, and I think the guys play for him.
Yep.
I think he got out coached last night. I think that pick play that got OPI'd. We just mentioned it a little bit ago. Yeah. Watson's the guy ran into me. Are we sure that Dan Campbell and the Lions don't coach their guys to run in if they think they see a pick play and maybe get a call?
100%.
Are we sure they're not like Matt LaFleur? Matt LaFleur's playing within the norms, but everybody else, you find ways. The way to win in life is to cheat but not break the rules, folks. That is the way to win in life.
So I see where you're coming from.
You don't break the real rules, you break the unwritten rules. Because there's no punishment to that.
I see where you're coming from, but if Watson just doesn't fumble that ball.
That was a bad fumble.
They probably win.
And if we stop one of these wild fourth downs that go for a touchdown. I mean, I'm glad we stopped the one from the 30.
Let's do a 3/4 of the way through the year Jeff Hafley report card. Jeff Hafley is a B+ or better so far. Or B+ or better for Hafley.
This is so stupid because, I would confidently say B, but for whatever reason, I can't say B+.
Because there is a difference.
Yep.
Yeah. I think Jeff Hafley's been fine. You asked if it's a personnel or a coaching thing. They don't have any fucking corners. They don't have a single one I like. Not a single one.
Despite investing multiple first-round picks.
They had, coming into the year, they had one. And we're down to 0 because Jaire just doesn't play.
Why
are we just like, oh, Jaire's not playing? Okay.
Here, just hold on. I actually have a Jaire topic.
How fucking dare you? You think he doesn't want to be out there, Bart?
I would like for people to ask that.
Fans like you are the fucking worst. You don't carry the G.
Hey.
Are you questioning his heart?
No.
Wait, hold on. Go ahead.
Okay, Grant, funny. I wish that, why aren't people doing that? I'm not doing it, but why aren't people doing it?
What?
Why are people just being like, oh, Jaire's missing? There should be, Packer fans are insane, and we get mad about the littlest thing. Why is there not a huge backlash for Jaire? People would be like,
there should be.
There should be people, and they might be wrong, but there should still be these people saying, get him off this team if he's not going to play.
Literally. Okay, so enter. I have a Jaire. Let's just do it.
Well, I want to finish with Hafley.
All right. Yes.
Should we just fire him and hire Robert Saleh or not?
I like Hafley.
I do too.
I'm gonna give him that B+ that I teased. So I was like, because it's a B+.
I'm gonna give him a B and then start to do the plus. But I have to start for this way, otherwise it's a B-.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give him a B1.
B1. And
which is what my parents call me because I am the first of 4 brothers, all with a B for their first name.
B1. I think it's you watch some of the stuff that happened in that game against the Lions, and like defensively, again, I covered 6 years of the Packers under the fire Dom Capers, where it was like every week was fire Capers. How is Capers? Like, it's easy with the defensive coordinator. The Lions are really fucking good. They are really, really good. And Ben Johnson =, Spoelstra. They are the.
I think so. Let's rewind to 20 minutes ago when Grant rolled his eyes, because what you don't know, Paul, is that Grant and I have been cultivating some sort of level of ESP. And 20 minutes ago, I know he was thinking the same thing that I was thinking.
Yeah.
Paul's going to end up mentioning fucking Eric Spoelstra on this show today, isn't he?
But
I know. I felt it.
It's part of the canon of the show, though. Like it had to be brought up, if not just implied. It had to directly be brought up. The Hafley can be a good B+ defensive coordinator so far. By the way, it's his first year in the job. He's learning things too. And you're going to lose to someone better than you. Like Ben Johnson is an A++ offensive coordinator and play caller who has a ton of talent. So like and again, the Packers are, and we'll transition to the topic, without Jaire and without another decent corner.
They lost Evan Williams, and then they lost Buller. The Lions were banged up too. But my point is, when you don't have corners or safeties you can trust, like that really limits your options. Totally. Like there's only so many things that you can run. So I think Hafley's been fine. They kept him in it in the first half. They couldn't get a stop in the second half when they needed it. But in the big picture, and I talked about this a lot too, like they stopped the run. I think they came into this game saying, we're not going to get run all over, and we'll just try to be good enough in all of the other facets of the game. And they almost were, with the Nixon pick and getting the stop on fourth down. Like if Stokes or McDuffie or one of these guys pulls one more play out of their ass in the entirety of the third or the fourth quarter, that's enough to win.
Yep.
So I don't know. My whole life and my whole time that I've ever worked in this job, we've just been dumping on the Packers defensive coordinator, and I'm kind of over it. I just don't want to do it anymore.
They have a good one.
Let me
believe they have a good one.
On the topic of Ben Johnson, I don't think if I'm Ben Johnson, do I want to be a head coach?
You don't want to possibly be exposed as just
do I want to leave the situation, at least as long as Campbell's there? Because had they lost last night, the Lions, nobody would have said, well, Campbell made the right decision to go for it. Ben Johnson called the wrong play.
Yeah, you get that protection.
Nobody would have said that. Campbell made a crazy decision. Thank God Ben Johnson made the right play is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
People don't know. I don't know what he looks like. Like
some nice anonymity. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're the head coach, I mean, Lions fans aren't doxing his address after a loss and making him move.
Mm-hmm.
And then, okay, you're still you're so good that you're going to keep coming up. Your name's going to keep coming up. We're not going to see you, but we know your name, which then he can just go back to the Lions and be like, I mean, I would like more money to continue to do this job where I'm very good at it. And I also basically am failure proof as long as I've got a shield in front of me, which is crazy gambling Dan, who is addicted to the rush of going for it on a fourth down. I mean, Dan Campbell at some point in his career will go for it on fourth down within his own 10-yard line. He will do it.
It'll probably be a fake punt, but yes.
Well, he'll do it as long as he has an offensive play caller that he can go to. I think if there's like a post Ben Johnson era with the Lions, you can compare it pre and post, and I'm sure his fourth down percentage of going for it will be way less post Ben Johnson. He can be this aggressive guy because of it. Like to me, it's like a direct correlation. Maybe. Also, I'd answer your question, Bart, and I would say like the thing that always confuses me. So Ben Johnson, like most people, presumably wants to be a head coach. Like I guess he proved that he didn't this past offseason, but let's say he eventually does. If you're the Lions, if you're any team and you have a great coach, I've never understood this. You're going to spend you're going to commit $300 million guaranteed dollars to Deshaun Watson, but you wouldn't pay. There's no salary cap for a coach. There's no cap. Like, if you have like, hey, we're going to make you the 5th highest paid coach in the league, Ben Johnson, to be our offensive coordinator. Oh, top 5 coach pay. No, you're going to be paid more than 27 other NFL head coaches to stay here. Like, why would you not do, if you really think about him the way I think about him, and you're the owner of the team, there's no amount of money you're allowed to spend. Like, Dodgers this thing and defer it, like, just give the guy that. I don't know. It's never made sense to me that team would be willing to lose a coach over money when there's no cap on it. That's just cheap ownership.
I would agree.
But again,
100%.
presumably he wants to be a head coach. But I think your idea about the protection of having Dan Campbell makes a lot of sense.
Well, how old is he? He's 38.
He's old as hell. He better, yeah.
So, I mean, if he wants to get a coaching job at some point in his career, he will. And he could ride out Campbell. He could ride out Campbell for another 5-6 years. There's no rush on him to become a head coach.
If you told me that Campbell and Ben Johnson were linked together for the next 5 years, I'm saying the Lions win at least 2 of those Super Bowls.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
At least.
We always do this. We got to stop doing this.
Yeah, and also I didn't mind if they would have won last year, but now like the grace period's over. Now
now it's done. I have the tweet drafts, Ben Johnson merchant, that's queued up. Like I got them ready. Do you think and this is assuming Ben Johnson leaves to take a head coaching job this offseason.
Let's hope it's not the Bears.
Well, I agree. Well, another question is, are the Bears going to pay for him? Because presumably he's going to be the number one option the Bears don't pay. So that's a whole other thing. But I do wonder if Ben Johnson's like, you know what? Happy to be back in Detroit. And he seems like he's all in on that. But I wonder if he doesn't at least think like, man, I could be the tip of the spear for this new Commanders thing with all the money and Jaden Daniels. I wonder if he's like, man, that would have been a good spot, but a better spot than even he thought when he turned it down. And I think that was an appealing job with the new owner and a lot of money. I wonder, because I haven't really looked at what jobs might come available, but I doubt there's going to be one with an owner ready to spend and a rookie quarterback that talented with a lot of runway.
I think when you look at how historically laughable the Washington franchise was, it makes sense that you wouldn't want that to be your leap. But if you could fast forward to early mid-December and say, hey, this is what it looks like, you would do that. I would agree that there's not going to be a better job this offseason than what we know now to be true about Washington.
I think sometimes offensive coordinators and even defensive coordinators, like you see these guys be so good at that and then go to coach. And because the pinnacle of some people's skill, you go up running backs coach, whatever, being a coordinator is like the pinnacle of that skill. And I would say like a radio host, morning show radio host, that's what you do. All these things that you're good at are good for this job. But then the station needs a program director.
Sure. Yep. So
then if you become the program director and still host, you're taking on all these other duties that you didn't prepare for. You didn't prepare for how to run an entire team. Mm-hmm. You prepared for how to scheme offenses and get the most out of your personnel. And now you have to do so many other things. So I think a lot of times we see coordinators fail as a coach, and then we think, oh, they're just stupid. But I think we should be more clear is that, like, I just think sometimes when we say, oh, he's a good coordinator but a bad coach, people are like, come on. I mean, but that is like that's a very finite and accurate thing I think that we can say. I don't think Robert Saleh is a good coach. I think he can take over a defense and have them top 5 in no time. But he's not a good head football coach, 53 men, and as the Bears are looking for, a leader of men.
Yep.
The disrespect from for Kevin Warren that I've among football people, the guy who's now running the Bears is people fucking hate that guy. Like no one respects him.
His track record though, like Big Ten, he's, I don't know, kind of feels deserved.
He's the guy who almost canceled college football in the Big Ten for a year. So yeah, which is why when the report
Oh,
was
yeah,
Jim,
Oh, they were going to play in the spring, dude. Remember that?
Jim Harbaugh wanted to coach the Bears, to me read as, I'll coach the Bears if you kick that bum out of the building. Not, I want to come here and they didn't want me.
You're saying about Kevin Warren?
Yeah.
Are you defending Kevin Warren?
No, I think this last round of reports of Harbaugh wanted to coach the Bears, I read that as, I would love to be here, but I'm not working for Kevin Warren. And the McCaskies were like, well, he's our guy, so tough shit.
I didn't see that. That report came out?
What, the Harbaugh thing? That they said that last night on the broadcast.
Yeah, it's been like the last 48 hours that there have been those stories.
Oh, see, I have to watch these games on mute.
Yeah, that's got to be a lot of fun.
So I don't have the ability to make a whole persona out of criticizing Al Michaels.
I thought it
Who
was
is?
fine. I enjoyed the broadcast last
It
night.
was bad.
They were good.
They're
fine.
Jaire Alexander has missed 16 of the last 30 games and 30 of the last 64. Jaire Alexander is very talented. Jaire Alexander should not be on the Packers next season, at least at his remote, anywhere near his cap number. Or mm-mm.
Well, let me just write this out instead of saying it.
Okay.
And you will see it at the bottom of your screen.
And I had this planned even before it came up, but it's just like, I do think you can't, I'm not saying he doesn't want to play. The best ability is availability, Bart writes.
So
You can't miss. You cannot miss half the games over the course of 4 years and be considered a top player on that team or counted on as any. Like you can't. I would rather have 75% the talented of Jaire, who's available 90% of the time, than this. You just can't do this. You can't build a defense this way, where one of your best, most highly paid defensive players, and it's not like, oh wow, the guy he should gut this out. I'm not criticizing him for being hurt, but if he is hurt, I don't want him on my team. Like you can't miss that much time. It's not a criticism of his heart or his desire, but no, like I can't do that again.
Yeah. Well, the problem is, and part of it is the contract, right? I was going to say, well, part of it is he's their only good corner, but when you pay your top corner that much, it's not like you can, you can't then invest in your number 2 and your number 3 guy as much. He hasn't played in any of the divisional games this year, except for 10 snaps against Chicago. It's the only snaps he's played. He missed the Vikings game, missed both of the Lions games.
And even to that point, that's kind of it. Like he's played, he's missed 16 of the past 30.
But when is he gonna play?
30 of the last 64. But Grant, I'll just say real quick, Bart, like that's not even including the games that he played a handful of snaps in left.
Is he hurt? Like, should we IR him?
Well, he's got a torn PCL or a tear in his PCL.
I just don't like, if we're gonna, I don't like every week. It's like, well, are we getting, just should make a decision either.
Well, what I don't get is the first time, this is a re-aggravation of a previous injury. And the first time he injured, he missed 3 weeks. And they brought him back against the Bears on a pitch count and he couldn't hack it. And then Jaire afterwards says, I didn't have enough time off, which means 4 weeks or more, which means he should be on IR, but he's practicing. He practiced this week, going into the Lions game. They just didn't play him. So I don't know what's going on with him.
So Spot Track, by the way, there's an out this offseason. If you do get out, you have a $19 million dead cap hit in 2025, and you have a 20. We'll round up a 20. You'll 26 million of your cap will be dedicated to Jaire if he's on your team. 26 if he's on the team. 19 if he's off. So you only save $7 million of your cap.
I think. What was the question? Question.
Jaire Alexander should not be on this team next year.
I mean, he should. You just got to keep.
You're just going to keep running into that same.
But even when he's out there, it's not like he's Darrelle Revis at his peak.
Right.
He's been pretty good when he's been out there this year.
He made that great play in Tennessee this year. That's a play that only less than a dozen NFL players on defense can make. Like, he's extremely talented. But if he's not available, I just don't like counting on guys who are such drastic hits or misses. Like, it's just, again, if that's like your 6th best player on a certain side of the ball, like that's okay. But when he's like, okay, this is who we scheme around defensively as our guy who's going to shut down one side of the field, and he misses half the games for 4 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, you cherry pick much, Paul? I mean, come on. Kidding.
How much farther back would you like me to go?
Eric Stokes is just about to figure it out. I can feel it though. It'll be
well.
fine.
Obviously, you're joking, but
obviously, I can't believe he's still on this fucking team. I can't believe he's on this team. Going into the draft this year, I'm like, well, you can't trust Jaire to be healthy, and you can't trust Stokes. And Goody's like, what? The usher me.
Watch me.
Watch this. Watch. I will do exactly that. And you think Carrington Valentine's better and all the data supports it? Yeah, we're gonna play Stokes anyways. So
that is the strangest part. That
of course it is. It doesn't make any sense.
There's got to be. I mean, I would love to know. They won't answer that question now, but you've got to ask Hafley and like his staff in 2 years when Stokes is gone. Hey, so what was the deal in 2024? Like, what happened? Why did you do this? All right, so you would bring him back next year, Grant. So Bart said he would.
Yeah,
Bart's going to keep toughing it out.
Yeah.
You're saying
we'll need something to complain about. So yeah, bring him back, and if he's hurt again, we'll just have content.
We always need like a Brad Jones, a Nick Perry, a
Blake
Jaire
Martinez.
Martinez.
Those guys never made 10% of the cap. So,
they made more than 2% of the cap, which was enough.
By the way, that is the number. By the way. Jaire accounts for more than 9.5%. So let's just say 10% of the Packers cap this year, next year, and the following year, unless they opt out of the deal this offseason.
If his name was Josh Adams and he wasn't so weird, I also think Packers fans would have less of a problem with him missing time. I think his antics, let's say, especially when he's missing all this time, doesn't land super well with fans. And to be fair, like it shouldn't if you're missing 50% of the games and making all the money. I don't think the antics are that bad, but it's it's something for fans to hop on.
Yeah. This wasn't what I planned, but you guys said something earlier that made me think. I just want to ask because we've asked versions of it at the beginning of the year. We had at the end of the season, the Packers will have a wide receiver one. At this point in the season, the Packers have a wide receiver one. And by the way, this is coming off a game which your boy Jane Reed had a big old double goose egg. The Packers have a wide receiver one. Or
I mean, who does Jordan Love? They don't target anybody.
Tucker Kraft.
I almost said that.
Yeah.
Well, Dobbs was hurt last night.
I know, which kind of leads me to more things like, Bart, your thing is like, who the MVP is when that guy doesn't play. This is a game where I'm like, oh yeah, right. This is because Dobbs is their best wide receiver, which by the way, I thought coming into the year, he was their fourth best receiver. So I was wrong.
I think Packers fans, like I got a call hosting earlier today. It's like, Jaden Reed, they didn't involve him at all. What the hell? It's like, well, there's always going to be a guy in any given week who's on the outside looking in. We know how many guys are on this offense. We celebrated it. We celebrate it every week. Oh, we have 5 guys to your 1 or 2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like Dobbs and Watson and Kraft will have a great game. And it's like, why didn't Jaden Reed get the ball? And then the next week, Jaden Reed will get the ball. But, Christian Watson, not in the game plan again. Like, not everyone can catch the ball all the time. I don't know that it's possible for them to have a wide receiver.
There aren't enough basketballs to go around.
There's only one ball. Put that on the graphic on the bottom. There's only one ball.
But again, when you only throw the ball so I'm looking at last night's stats. You threw it 20 times, you completed 12 of them. Yeah, like no one's gonna be a wide receiver one on a team that completes 12 passes.
Well, that's the thing. They're a run first offense too.
They're a run first, run second, run. Yeah, I mean it's yes. And they only run 44 offensive plays to Detroit's 75 to 44, and they only lost by less.
Yeah, I was stunned because I was looking at tackles, and the Packers had like 88 tackles, and the Lions had like 46.
The play count was 75 to 44, and they lost at the buzzer with a field goal. Like that's a game that shouldn't be close.
Yeah.
My last topic for you, and it's not.
Is it Spoelstra related?
No, it is not. It should be. This is Ben Johnson. This is one that this will be a fun one. The Golden App bad idea. You would, Bart left. The Golden App bad idea, if it came to fruition, would be something you would love within 3 years? Mm-hmm. Or mm-mm. I say this because you, Bart in particular, are always against rule changes. And 90% of the time, maybe 100, you end up really liking the thing.
I end up being okay that it exists.
At the you've never said after the fact, like, yep, that rule change that I was really against, I was right. No, like it's always been good or neutral.
So Manfred is and again, it's not like when crazy ass ideas for a certain league come out, it's from a podcast.
Sure.
Or like a fan. It's never from the actual fucking commissioner.
But he said it.
And yeah, and he's saying that we should give a golden at bat so you can put in whoever you want at any time once a game.
So let me just spoil.
I think what it would do is revitalize the sports radio industry during baseball season.
Yep.
Because then every day we could talk about why did they use the golden at bat in the 7th? Are we sure that we should always give the golden at bat to Juan Soto? I mean, these other guys are on a heater right now.
Why do we need to save the golden at bat until the 6th or later? What if the biggest spot of the game is in the 2nd? It's the same as Josh Hader when they should use him.
Why not start every game with Juan Soto hitting 3rd and 2nd?
It's a great. I've never heard this voice before.
It's brand new.
It sounds like it's polished.
Well, and it's like you can use it as an extension of other baseball topics too. It's like you pay all this money for Juan Soto and you don't even use the golden batter on him. What's the point?
You pay this money for Juan Soto. He's only giving you 4 at bats a game.
All right, so I'm gonna just not shock you, I don't think, and I'm gonna say I really like it.
Jesus Christ, Paul!
I like it a lot. Now,
you like it because it adds more strategy,
which is what it should. Like that's a good thing.
I've been keeping book with my dad for 30 years. We haven't figured out how to correctly do the golden at bat.
Now you just turned into Seinfeld. What's the deal?
What's the deal with the golden at bat? And then if it's a golden at bat, how come the best guy to do it is called the Silver Slugger?
Okay. Use that. Store that.
It's not even funny. It just like somehow works. It's not
most Seinfeld bits aren't funny.
And you just came.
I think the best known Seinfeld bit isn't even a Seinfeld bit. What's the deal with corn nuts? Is it a corn or is it a nut?
I think the point of it is so Grant, you watched how many of the past 162 regular season Brewers games? Like really truly watched them. 120 of the 162?
Yeah, I was gonna say 120, something like that. Yeah.
Whatever. I'm a guy who has had Brewer season tickets. I've had Brewer season tickets. I think when I'm older, I'll probably get right back into baseball as being like a thing. Because I think you can't be half in on baseball. Like it's a hard sport to be like, oh, I'm gonna watch every 4th day or once a week. You have to be really in or really out. But so as someone who wants to watch more baseball, but it didn't strike me as something to do with my nights or days in 2024, I would love a little jolt of a thing that would bring me in. And then I think it would be really fun and different. So I think it's like if you're a hardcore fan, you don't want it.
Well, baseball is baseball. 30 years from now, there are going to be 30-minute games where you just pick 5 guys to have a home run derby.
See, like I saw some complaints where it's like, Rob Manfred's job should be, I mean, tell me if you disagree with this. His job is to grow the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, fuck me. No, it's
whose job is
how do you even grow a game anyway?
Stop it. Be literal for a minute.
No, I'm serious. We always say grow the game. How do you grow the game?
What does that even mean? What does that even mean?
It means I can't tell if you're kidding or
I'm not. Grow the game. We got to grow the game. I've been trying to grow soccer for 30 fucking years.
See, but the good
now all their game, the MLS Cup is this weekend. Bet you didn't know that.
Nope.
And you can watch it on Apple TV Plus.
He's still easier to watch than a Marquette top 10 matchup.
That's true.
So you're being serious. So
ESPN Plus. They run out of numbers.
That's a good Pocket that voice. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, Paul, but
You want to appeal to a new audience. You want to broaden your appeal.
we need to.
Yes, you do need to.
Broaden
And
your
in fact,
appeal to what?
If there's one person's job on earth who it is to expand baseball's audience, it's the commissioner of the league. I think that's like the job description.
So
No, the job description is to protect owners and make them more money.
Okay, that's actually what they're doing. But what the job description should be is to make those owners more money by growing the game, by expanding your
By
audience.
alienating your longest and most loyal
But I don't think you
fans.
will. See,
Yeah,
but I don't
that's
think
the
you
thing.
will.
What about
You won't,
baseball fans? What about actual baseball fans?
Yeah, what about people who like watching just, a baseball game in their neighborhood, and maybe they'll go support the local high school team 3 times a year just because they like watching baseball, and then their professional team plays a sport that's like Kelvin ball?
And by the way, Bart, I like your argument that you've made where it's like, well, I want the sport to be the same at every level. Dude,
You like it because it's smart.
Golden at bat should be universal.
You want to put the golden at bat in fucking Little League?
I want to put it at least at high school ball. I've coached high school ball. I want my golden at bat.
All right. I
You
need
know-
to go pick up my kid who will never be a golden at bat participant. I just want to know 2 things from you guys.
I'm flabbergasted that you don't think the commissioner should like, whether you love or hate this particular idea, that you don't think it's his job.
We can have a, what do you like to say?
long
Form. We can talk more long form in the future about the role of a commissioner. I think that'd be good.
Yeah.
2 over-unders for you. Over-under tonight, Chris Middleton, 17 and a half minutes.
Under.
Really? Over-under tonight, Chris Middleton, 17 and a half games played until the playoffs.
How many are left? 58? Over.
I mean, we dance around not calling Jaire Chris Middleton, but it's the same thing.
I don't like it's not even close to the same thing. One guy's
Uh-oh.
way past his athletic prime, won the team a title. That's not.
Does the 12 days of Christmas.
Yeah. Golden
Yep.
at bat. Gold in the inside of my ass. You know why I don't like the golden at bat, Paul? Is because it's now a means for all of the people in sports media to prove how non-lame they are. It's a means for sports talkers to say, I love it because the purists need to get with the times. I don't like that.
So let me just be clear. You guys are far more invested into sports media than I at this point. I've not heard anyone, not that I've heard 20 opinions on it, but I've not seen anyone be like, good idea.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
are there people who are doing this?
Cowherd
did?
fans will hate this, but I'm not a fan. It's like, I hate things that give sports talkers that lane. And
Oh,
they're
I
all
see.
taking it.
Hey,
So
what
this is
that
very
Houston
personal.
guy that got suspended, he didn't try to kill Trevor Lawrence. Why are we acting like he did?
Well,
I don't think that was that bad of a hit.
it was a very bad hit.
All right, well then say, dude, that was a bad hit. You should be suspended for 3 games.
See, I actually do one thing I've always
The end of the story.
thought though is when you do it, I think when there's an illegal hit, if Trevor Lawrence is going to miss 4 games, the offender should miss the same number.
But then you can strategize where you leave your quarterback out longer to screw over the guy that.
But you're not going to keep your quarterback out longer so a defensive player can be suspended longer. Like, that's not going to happen.
I have to go. My son's standing outside in the cold.
That's actually even better. Let's keep chatting.
Goodbye,
Bye.
gentlemen.
Bye.
Guys, thank you for joining the program. We'll chat next week about commissioners.
Yeah, we should. And Ben Johnson.
All right, guys. See ya.